Yeah, man, man, my up. All right, so hear this now. Somebody, Wodak, Murdoch away name, you're right, and I say, the revival, the thing where I show is that people for do them fact check because that is not Andrew Holness. I mean, I gotta tell you something right now, yeah? Andrew Holness in the revival church. Yeah, man, they're on my live. They're on my live. Yeah, man, yeah, man. So, Andrew Holness that in the revival church, right? And you do your fact check before you tell somebody to do them fact check. Andrew himself put it up in the revival church in Westmoreland, and then put it up. And if you ask yourself what is revival, set speed, and if you check out these things, man, before sometimes you make some comment, you can't make comment and look bad enough. We say we just watch every church. So if him there so with them God and next 7 day advantage or something or whatever, them there a revival church, huh? And you have some people call revival church, no disrespect, but then call it the Hobart church and spirit and them put out them candle and them havings and them sword and the all of them things there, you know, capo style. See? So you know say, you know, when you say facts check, you need to do a fact check. I'm going to show the one video still. And then I'm going to show you what is revival, yeah? So I'm like, do a fact check on only, you know. When you make a speech. So make a speech. Oh, that's what I said, don't be, no, like a man like me, you know, when I put up something, don't be like it's a party line thing and, you know, you just, can me just say, you just build the thing today. 20 seconds? Yeah, you just build a account today. You just come make, send something off. That receipt and say, you know, like people have spread propaganda or something. No, don't do that, yeah? You understand? Because we not do that, you know. We not spread propaganda, yeah? Yeah, man. We always you have to do fact check still, yeah? Yeah, man. Alright, so let me show you Andrew. Andrew put it up himself, you know. So I'm going to show you now, you know. So we have to know this, yeah? Alright, so I could just watch it and then we want to ask what is revival. I could see it. See there, Andrew Holness, see it? Look. Enjoy. Yeah, so when them are coming now, so you see the little picture, remember the picture we just show, the little piece of film, and you see when them are rub him head. Now you say not Andrew that because, you know, that are just rumor spread. But you see him now, I'm saying, you see that him now? I not him to you, right? Alright, I could just go and play it, yeah? Alright. And drop the foot there. The mama who, you see them? Alright. Yeah, man, every church, even the man are good vibes, him sister fast, so tell him get mad, you know. So we just show the person with us right say, I never Andrew. So put up wrong thing, him never there, no revival church or something. Come on. A revival church, come on.
Over time, we're going to get to know this very special man of God. And he takes the role very seriously. And he understands that it's important to come and meet the people that he will serve.
Send a little contribution down there. Okay. The same time, vote time I come on, they see them people, I go to people church too, you know. Remember that? All right. Him tell you him will be back. Him not go down the back from your win, you know. But I'm gonna try to show you, yeah. So him the den of the church. So don't tell me say I know him and him picture blurry and them thing. There, yeah? Me and you show him. See him there? No, alright. Who that? No, the same man this I want to make. No, him that what we just trying to him head. See when them name head there? Just look. So this you see, I yes I know him. So me I show you, I can show you more, I'll show you a shorter version, but just look. See one of them over him now. You see that him now? You see him now? Oh. Oh. Don't trouble Zion. Zion. Don't trouble Zion. See how who put it up there? Andrew himself. See there? Alright, so I'm gonna show you now, say I know nobody now put up nothing nowhere misleading, yeah? Andrew himself in a revival church, man. And tell him I send I'm the politician doing when them up look something for play, you see them all over. You see me I say? And say them be back and all kind of thing. So I could look on what's a revival church, no? Alright, so I could see what I want for the pen stand over the thing then, yeah? See? Some people call it a church, you know, but some people say, alright, I could do more tradition and set tables and do all kind of things. Eh? Alright? Yeah, man. See ya? Sit down.
This can make it to be rich.
I think that was 2011. That was before the election, 2012. 2011. Say I'll be back, but him never back. You're winning now, for go back.
This can elevate you to a standard that you didn't expect you would reach.
Upon this now. Revival.
Revival is a religious form that evolved out of the great Christian revivals of 1860 and 1861, which led to a synthesis, a combination of...
All right, so revival still, him say 1860 to 1861. Revival was before that, from I think 16 to 17 and come up to 1800. So him say from 1860 to 61. No, it was before. Yeah, Yeah, like 1700 coming up. Because when they can look it up. So me know so we can correct him on that too, you know. So you see me I say, go and watch it still.
African as well as European Christian traditions.
The Ark. One I know about the Ark. When me if you think about the Ark, one man if all right, them read the Bible and God say, him not destroy the earth again with no flood. Where you go with the Ark? You know see that a red flag again. Tell people them here about Ark, that there must be a red flag. Me answer you straight. Eh? A Ark. Another animal a go up on an Ark. Him a who now? A red flag that man. So if them read the Bible, and you see that's why people for try read the Bible themselves too, you know. And say God promise, that's why the rainbow, say him now flood, him now destroy the earth with no flood again, no water. So what you doing an ark? And then I talk about tsunami. Next red flag. We can't point out all the red flag, man. Let me go and hear this.
On the sugar plantations, when Africans came here, they were not allowed to practice their religion. The practicing of African religions were suppressed by law. Now, after emancipation, when you had the Great Revival and the emergence of revivalism, that allowed for former enslaved Africans, in a way, to retain their African religious practices. Revivalism is an umbrella term, and under that term you have two branches of revivalism. You have a 60 Zion and 61 revival. No, the numbers has to do with the year that they were formed. 60 Zion was formed in 1860, and 61 revival was formed in 1861. The revival cosmology is a very complex one, and it's complex because revivalism is a syncretic religion that fuses African beliefs or African practices and also Christian practices. Both 60 Zion and 61 revival believe in the Trinity, the triune God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
The earlier form of revival was a more Christian derived, although it still had African influences. This is identified as revival Zion.
They believe in the heavenly realm, so they believe in the saints, the deceased saints from the Bible. They believe in the angels. 61 revival, which is the more deep-rooted African practice, they believe in earthbound messengers, so the deceased.
The 61
Yeah, them believe in the deceased. Okay, you know, fling two up upon you.
Is a lot more evident. Earlier researchers who were looking at the form call it Pocomania, which they ascribe to a translation from Spanish into English as Little Madness.
Yeah, man, them did have Paco.
Later research
Capo, sorry, Capo.
more or less discounted that interpretation.
Say I got it have Capo. So one up on the ground, boy. Revival, man. Spirit war.
Whether the hymns, song, the chanting, the drumming, it is to invoke a particular spirit or invoke a particular messenger.
A particular spirit. What kind of spirit that? In the spirit you invoke, I must the devil, you know.
Is an essential element of revival worship and ritual. And in fact,
the revival worship and ritual. Any spirit where you invoke, man, I must say devil, man. You don't invoke no spiritual man. Yes.
Thanksgiving tables or revival tables generally are set and are held to invoke the spirits.
The revival table.
Revival table, no man.
In many respects, after a critical part of the ceremony. Revival tables were set up for Thanksgiving or for other kinds of purposes, healing.
healing.
Had different items placed on these tables.
They might heal, but you know, they might use the champagne and some D&G drinks and grapefruit and all kind of things. I have people call them as a table for you, you know. And they cangle them and them thing there, you know. But you know, believe, for them believe this here.
That represented different things.
A table is set with an arrangement, an assemblage of various things. So you may find on a table flowers, bread, carbonated beverages, fruits, and so on.
The candles and the fruits and the bread all have different meanings and significances, and depending on the purpose, there might be different.
So you tell me say if that a healing altar. You tell me say I saw D&G, then D&G is a whole place then. Because I said be D&G things and red stripe things, the soda, the drinks, them and them things. That mean D&G with it is a holy site then, man. It's a healing place. And the Kanga place is a holy place. Eh? It's a holy place.
Items placed on the table. In the
lamp,
revival
Kango bell
scenario, you would also find a seal. And the seal usually consists of
processed drink, yeah man.
Water, on a stand.
And then them water.
Maybe a couple of sprigs of leaf of life in it.
Leaf of life.
And that also has a significance to it.
You may notice in revivalism, they use a lot of natural.
Then Zanga is used to one. They must buy it out. Some foreign company must buy it out.
And the relationship between our spiritual existence and Mother Nature.
So. And white rum is a favorite in a revival too, you know.
Because music is an avenue through which spirit possession then takes place. Drums are used to induce spirit possession. And
spirit
also
possession.
Not only through instruments as we know them, but you can use your body as an instrument to produce music. You stamp your feet. You chant and also you sing, and that creates a rhythmic pattern which then vibrates, and spirits or messengers are then called through those motions and sounds of the body. So music in revivalism is created by way of the body and by way of instruments used in this space.
What is interesting about that is that some of the hymns that are sung not only in revival churches, but in other Christian denominations as well.
Pencil them use enough in a revival too, you know. Enough things, you know. One thing people that take note in a revival, the pencil at the ears, run the ears back there, what again them using a revival? Tape measure, you know, they wrap the head, the soda, the drinks, D&G drinks them a big thing. So D&G is a holy place. Supposed to be a holy place. See? Because, you know, revival use it enough. The grapefruit and all kind of little things use enough. So them that's supposed to be some holy thing. The pencil and them thing there, you know. Watch this.
This also speaks to the evolution of the it has become, in many instances, more of a Pentecostal religious practice and observance, and so has become more aligned with traditional Christian practice, particularly in an African American or Afro-Caribbean sense as well.
What I gather is that a part of the modernization of revivalism has to do with revivalists seeking legitimacy from traditional Christian churches, and that is as a result of the colonial legacy that Jamaicans have inherited from enslavement. So persons still view revivalism
Seeking
as a cult,
legitimacy.
satanic worship.
Here where them say people review them as revival again. I true my talk. Hear this.
Seeking legitimacy from traditional
Seeking
Christian
legitimacy.
churches, and
And when them
that is as a result of the colonial legacy that Jamaicans have inherited from enslavement. So persons still view revivalism as a cult, satanic worship.
as our called satanic worship. Yeah, because you say them want to talk to the spirit, bring back the spirit, them and thing, yeah?
From traditional Christian churches, and that is as a result of the colonial legacy that Jamaicans have inherited from enslavement. So persons still view revivalism as a cult, satanic worship, evil. And because of that, revivalists are currently trying to incorporate more traditional Christian ways of worship into their rituals,
Rituals.
and into their ceremonies. So there is still that tension, that colonial tension that continues to see African ways of worship as backward and uncivilized.
From the early days of the
Them have something on the ground there. Oh, put numbers, okay.
churches, there has been a kind of suspicion about the religious practice, and it was considered, particularly by the established churches in the early days, to be something that was not
Drop on the ground though,
or something that should be practiced. So what would happen is that revival adherents, or some revival adherents, would go to their Anglican or Roman Catholic church in the morning and go to their revival services afterwards. So there was a kind of duality in practice. Revival has become more accepted in more recent years, particularly in the post-independence period, as a result of research which has exposed the practices as being not harmful to people's lives and livelihoods, but just seen as another religious practice, which has elements going back to our ancestral roots in Africa, as well as the influence of Europe in terms of the structure of the religious practice.
The ethos of revivalism is deeply African. And you can see that even today by the way they perform their rituals, the way they chant, their way of dressing. And as you move across revival bands today, revivalists are actually proud to tell you two things. One, they are revivalists, and two, they are of African descent. So you'll have, for example, a Thanksgiving table that is dedicated to the African order. And what that Thanksgiving table is a recreating of an African imagination, of an African consciousness within the space. So they will use elements that they consider to be African. For example, roasted food on the table.
Wow.
The dressing of the space to represent that of an African authentic space. So yes, revivalists are still carrying on an African consciousness, and that has to do generally with a revival of African pride and African consciousness that is happening currently within the Western world.
African pride and consciousness make them a eat and take off, make woman take off them underwear and a wear, do all of them. And I kiss woman backside and I make them yam grass and I do and I rise there and I carry some bogus Jesus. Yes, African consciousness. Them gone. I was say what's the matter with wow. Me tell you this. The man for us don't mix up church and state. In my film church where I'm going to go, this is a revival church. You understand? So when something else bust now, they hear them say, okay, this and that, boy, Andrew. No. See, I got to have capo, you know. You understand? So we don't want no more of that, you know. He promised them someone is saying I go back, but for me, when him not go back.
In Jamaica. So, for example, you have revival bands right across the island of Jamaica. And interestingly, what I've observed among revival bands, that you now have a lot of young people in revivalism, which is also ensuring its longevity and its survival.
There is movement between Jamaica and other parts of the world where practicing revivalists have perhaps migrated, established churches in the countries that they have moved to. And so you do have pockets of revival practice that have spread beyond the shores of Jamaica. And that also speaks to the strength of the practice. It really is a strong and self-sustaining practice. We need to recognize and safeguard revival because it represents something that actually emanated, that came out of and was created in Jamaica as a traditional practice. And it has survived pretty strongly from 1860 until now.
Him just answered, Calbert, him just said, create out of Jamaica, and him answered thing.
Who we are as a people, although not everybody is a revivalist, it still is an element of our cultural heritage that should be preserved.
Revivalism is significant to our Jamaican culture because it provides a link and a connection to our African past and to our African identity. And revivalism provides a space where Jamaicans, particularly of the working class, can convene and continue to construct and reconstruct an African identity, not only for themselves, but for their children.
One thing I'd like to add in terms of the protection of revival as a cultural form, the government of Jamaica has nominated revival to the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity, which is a program run by UNESCO that gives recognition to intangible cultural heritage. So we have submitted a nomination to UNESCO and look forward to revival being inscribed on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage.
So here we just talk a while ago. You were just talk a while about revival, so them send the thing to UNESCO because they want them say it's a culturalness. Which if you deal with religion, you know, if it send nothing to UNESCO to recognize as a culture. So you see them a bit too weird. And as somebody just said, them look, then set the table and them thing, that of course. But me that said D&G and them place, so you have to take it for all the place because the sword and them thing they always lay on the table. And them tell you who get big foot from who, you know. As them say two of them, you know, them say cult. Below them, make the people them go on with them thing. See? But to the bridge, you know, they say, I never Andrew Holiness that. And people like when we think, me just show you the full Andrew. I mean, I've did that, I've like, half an hour I can show you with him. Me just show you less part time. See? My Andrew Holiness. See? So, you know, sometimes when you say check something, you know, so we always fact check something. Might show you something, but if we want to show, we can't show the fullness. So we come show the fullness. He just promise them some money and say, I'll be back. You know, him go back on now. You know, if him send the money now, yeah? But that a revivalist. You can't look it up and now you see what them go on with. You have some people tell you, you know, read you up and do them things. I say, no, I God will work with. And them have them pencil. That means pencil is a holy thing. Then if it can do what them say it do. And them have them tape measure them. But the dressmaker, what name? Inch measure. Them have that. You know, some of them tie it around them and them not leave them pencil and wrap up them head. And them not leave them soda and some of the D&G beverages. And them not leave them grapefruit and them water and them, you know. And them say that work for them. So there, you know. See? So we just go down run down and just get the bread, you know, say, you know, put out things and stop that foolishness there. Andrew himself put it out. Them the revival place. See? We don't even know if we give them the money where him say I give them. We don't know, but we don't see him go back. Can they say I'll be back? You understand? Because you know, when you look voted everywhere, take off your shoes and walk through water and do all kind of things. See? But as I say the footage, because you say the footage fake, you know. Me I show you say it's real. Okay? So me show you the Andrew. You see it? Alright. Be there, yeah? Lonesome. Keep it straight, yeah? Me out. Yeah, man. Cool.